Welcome to Food Trends, 4 interesting topics for conversation that our normals are going to explore. The first one is almost under the cloche.
It is.
Do you want to see it?
I would like to see it, please.
Oh, wow.
Describe it to me. What colour is it?
Black and red.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh! I've seen these.
So have we. Popping up all over the place, relatively new, but very new to our shores, and we thought worth exploring.
And they're supposed to be incredible.
So this is a self-heating pot.
This is lunch that heats itself for you.
And not only that, it's not just gimmicky, but I've seen people taste the contents and go, wow, this actually tastes fantastic.
Now imagine this is something that you can take to work, to school. I've seen people use these on public transport or in airports and trains when they're waiting for things. Anywhere where you've got space but you're away from home and you want a hot meal. What I'd like you to do is empty the other contents into your cooking and eating vessel, the white bowl. So you should be adding into it your beef, your noodles, your pickled vegetables and your sauce. These have been popular in China and places like Japan for a fair few years. We're talking maybe 5 or 6 years, but only really suddenly gaining popularity in the Western world. We've seen it popping up on social media and now very readily available in some of the Asian supermarkets. Well, here in London as an example.
You pour like room temperature or cold water into this and it self-heat. This warms it all up.
Because it's unlikely you're going to have a kettle on the go.
Yeah.
Which puts it
This is great.
aside from your cup of soups and your instant pot noodles where you need to boil a kettle. Now the beauty is in theory you shouldn't need anything. So whilst my chefy brain was like reach for a pair of scissors to snip off the top, they should be able to do all of this without anything added. So long as you have water with you. So a bottle of water as well.
Pickled veg going in?
Yep, and your noodles.
Schwing.
Fill it up to the max line with water, cold water. And now for the science. You open up that and make sure that the bag is intact. You shouldn't use it if it's not. You're also going to add cold water to the black bowl up to the max line. Inside that bag is calcium oxide, aluminium powder and sodium bicarbonate. They're going to combine to create heat. So hang on. Once you put that on, you then put your white dish inside, you put your lid on all pretty quick because you want to trap in the heat.
Right, we've got to do this quick, mate. That's going to boil.
Up to the line.
That sits in.
I don't want it to,
Yeah.
And then whatever you do, don't cover the hole in the lid because that's like a vent as well. Make sure the lid is nicely clipped in.
Yep.
And push it to one side. We will come back to that in 15 minutes.
Oh my God!
It's an instant pot.
Should we set a timer and come back to it?
Yes.
I mean, that is hot.
Oh, look how accommodating they are. Chopsticks and a spoon for Mike. Or a spork.
Dig deep for the beef, which I think was the first thing you squeezed in.
Cheers. Flavour's really good.
Really good.
Now remember those 4 individual packets you started with, they have to be kept separate so that they can obviously not mingle between the pickled veg, the dried noodles, the sauce and the beef, but all ambient. So even that beef is ambient storage until you start to heat it up.
Is this a one-time use device?
Yes.
Because it feels like a big package and a lot of packaging. I would kind of want to know that this is a reusable thing that I could put other food in the translucent container. I've got another like 5 pouches of heating stuff that I can put in there and I can just reuse it time and time again.
It's definitely the convenience lunch market. What I'd say is it's fascinating to see the technology and the convenience that leads to in other areas as well.
Yeah. The only use case I can't get on board with is literally getting on board with it on a public transport.
On anything.
There's too much hot liquid.
It does say don't use in an enclosed, compacted area. I think more realistically, perhaps it's one of those things to do at your desk.
Yeah.
It would just heat up and you've got a really lovely warming lunch. Just shy of £12 at $11.99 for a hot pot. You couldn't buy a hot pot in London for less, as a comparison. There are countless recipes. We're really just using this as the catalyst for the conversation of the food trend, which is self-heating pots. So in that case, a self-heating success or a defeating disaster?
Self-heating success.
I think it's a self-heating success, but it needs to, it's a bit chicken and egg. It needs to get bigger and better so that it can get bigger and better and more accessible.
I'd like to point out that well over 1 billion people in China already know about this.
On these shores. I know what you meant.
Well, now you've tried to blow us up. What's under here?
Oh!
Yeah?
Multiple colours of foil cubes.
To me, that is, if the last one was about making something hot, it feels to me like you put these in the drink and it makes it cold.
No.
Nope, right.
They're
You
very,
can have a
very
sniff,
dark.
you can have a lick, you can have a taste if you want.
Feels like we're at a party.
It's not chocolate.
I thought it was going to be licoricey. That's the impression that it
That
gave me.
kind of consistency.
Yeah. I can tell you it's
charcoal.
not nice.
It's very acrid. Oh
I'd
my
like
god!
to make it very clear that these delicious things are not supposed to be eaten this way, which is why the boys are reacting as so. Yeah, you don't need to finish it if you now have the taste.
Okay. Oh, it's all on my fingers now.
The most licorice possible.
It's not licorice, it's tea resin from China, but essentially you can make quality, well-filtered tea without the need for tea bags or strainers, because lots of ways of making tea, loose leaf that you then need to strain, or the use of a tea bag, which you're then left with something you need to get rid of. A single
sense.
cube
Okay.
is enough to make 16 ounces of delicious tea.
What's that in English?
Without the need of tea bags.
What's that in English?
What's an ounce?
An ounce is about 25 grams millilitres, so 16 is about 400 millilitres. Couple of cups. Should we now do what we're supposed to do with it?
Yes, please.
Yeah, make 16 cups of tea.
One of those tiny tea resin capsules and about 400 millilitres of just short of boiling water, so 80 to
100,
85 degrees.
200, 300,
Lovely.
400. I guessed that that's 100 millilitres.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
So in that bowl, you've got 4 different types of tea: red tea, rose red tea, shupua tea, and chenpi shupua tea. And the great thing is,
It comes with sardines.
Lovely. Or Tic Tacs. Breath mints.
because they're so small and compact compared to tea bags, you can take that with you and have dozens of cups of teas, so much more.
How many are in one of these? 12. At least 12. No.
15, 16,
20.
17,
I've
20.
got it written here,
Right.
20.
So 20 times 16,
Yeah.
you can say I've legitimately got
320.
cups of tea in my pocket.
Which could also be tea bags, but it'd be a lot more bulky. It behaves like resin, but what this is tea leaves that have been boiled in water to make regular tea, and then reduced down over a long period of time until you're left with that. So it is a highly, highly, highly concentrated version of tea. However, between boiling and reducing, they also filter it through 10 microscopic meshes so that it is really clear and has no tea solids in it. So in that sense, it's a premium tea that's then filtered and then reduced down to a point where, no different to a stock pot where you have that really gelatinous stock that you then rehydrate, it's doing the same with tea. And it ends up resin-like. Takes several days to do because if you do it too quickly, it'll burn. So you just very gradually reduce it down to a point. They say that it makes quite a strong tea and therefore you can dilute it to taste. So it might, if you prefer, make up to a litre's worth of tea.
Okay.
But they say, you know, aim for about 16 ounces. That's the sort of average amount. Try it.
So it doesn't make 16.
No, sorry.
No.
Have you ever heard of tea resin?
No, and I think there's so much innovation in the hot beverage market, from like coffee bags are now becoming more and more popular.
So
Yeah.
obvious when you say it out loud, but
Yeah.
a relatively new thing.
The tea bag, I feel like the last innovation in the tea bag was when PG Tips came out with the pyramid.
Okay, yep.
Well, that's very nice. It's lost all of the acridness, all of the bitterness. The question is, I suppose, could you tell that has come from a little cube? And
Absolutely
not.
not.
From loose leaf tea or...
It has all of the notes of what I'd attribute to a loose leaf tea, actually, in that it's very delicate,
Yep.
but really pleasant.
Yeah.
Now, interesting, you say that there is lots of innovation in the hot beverage market, for sure, and yet tea resin is a very old practice and can be traced back to the Qing dynasty in China. So hundreds and hundreds of years, it's only now that it's sort of being resurrected and put into very portable, on-the-go options, and we're seeing it hit social media.
You think about that is about the same size as a sweetener.
Yeah.
And how sweetener kind of revolutionised adding sugar into tea because people just carry it around in their pocket or their bag or something like that.
Yep.
You could do that with this, and I feel like that could become really, really popular.
What if I told you that that little sampler pack is £17, so less than £1 per tea resin, a quality tea that has been filtered 10 times from a particular province. Obviously a lot more expensive than tea bag, but
Different type of tea. I think it's for somebody who's looking to explore a bit more about Chinese tea. It's obviously in a very different way of packaging it up and getting it to you. And I think that, and it's not technology, because like you said, it's very old, but if that suddenly becomes applied to standard English breakfast tea, I think that could be something really big.
That is the point. This is called Tea Resin Sampler. And if you want to sample a variety of teas that are in a more convenient way than having loose leaf tea, for example, which is a bit faffy, this is a great way to do it. And then now I can see its point.
Yeah, and once you've had 16 cups, you'll know whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
so the question, to tea or not to tea?
To tea.
To tea.
To tea.
Number 3, what we got?
You get to look and peek.
Green, it's leafy,
Okay.
in a bowl, and it's accompanied by smaller leafy things.
Okay, look. I've got one of these at home that I don't water.
Oh, this one's very shiny.
Succulent.
It is indeed succulent, something we strive for when cooking certain ingredients.
Oh, it's so watery.
Yeah, very watery.
It's really refreshing.
I'm surprised you just went straight in for eating it.
It's almost citrusy and grassy at the same time.
It feels to me like aloe vera.
It's succulent family.
What do these ones taste like?
Again, not
That's
supposed
good.
to be done.
Oh, really flavoursome though.
Absolutely
They've
delicious.
got loads of good flavour in
Yeah.
them. both.
Take the leaf, scrunch it up, and just sniff your hand. What are you getting? Because the trend we're looking at here is just using more plants and using more parts of plants that we often forget to use.
It smells like soap now.
It's citrusy.
It's
Yeah.
citrusy,
It's really citrusy.
almost cinnamony. These are cardamom leaves.
Ah!
So we all know
Yes.
the pods, but the plant has leaves and they are often overlooked. And then we've got succulents,
that's lovely.
which are a great addition, and we're seeing them pop up on a lot of more high-end restaurants as garnishes, as additions to certain dishes, especially with fish, or even just served as little petit fours, because what a succulent is something that absorbs lots of liquid, and then during times of drought uses that up and then can shrivel down. So you can literally inject these succulent leaves with syrups, highly flavoured syrups, or alcohol. You can even just dip them in chocolate. The outside leaf is kind of bitter, but inside is really sharp and tangy. Whereas the cardamom leaves, awesome to wrap stuff in,
Okay.
to impart flavour, like you might a banana leaf, to infuse the cooking of rice, for example, like we might do with a pandan leaf. Also, you can infuse cream or milk with it and then use them to make custards and ice creams and all that kind of stuff. So much flavour from the leaves that we often overlook. So these two, and dozens of other very forward-thinking, kind of innovative plant options come from Copper Cress. So it's a company in the Netherlands, and they say they grow natural, innovative ingredients which chefs can use to intensify flavour, aroma, and presentation of dishes. If you remember Chef Ronk, he's been a friend of the channel for some time. He's judged your cooking before.
He's known
friend of
ours
mine.
after picking Barry's tiramisu in the Chef Skills Challenge. But we do actually love
Yeah, lovely front.
So big fan of Chef Ronk, and he works with Copper Cress to develop loads of kind of recipes and to try and teach people to think outside the box when it comes to some of these plant ingredients.
Firm but fair Franck. Whoa.
For example, taking these ingredients and stretch them across lots of things. You can make amazing oils out of cardamom leaves, or you can make jellies from them, or you can make sugar. So that is just those cardamom leaves blitzed into sugar, and all of a sudden use that in your baking. Use that in a cup of tea and it gets close to that kind of chai vibe. Use that.
That is delicious.
In 101 different applications, you've got cardamom sugar.
Imagine if you could put that into 16 cups of tea.
Well, lucky for you.
Or a cardamom sugar creme brulee.
It looks like a cross between a Petri dish and a colourblind test.
I'm going to be honest.
It's got the number 4 in it, hasn't it?
I'm going to be honest. I really love this cardamom sugar in lots of applications. Whether creme bruleeing it is the right one on top of rice pudding, but the other option, use the leaves to infuse the cooking of the rice pudding or ice creams or creme anglaise. But suddenly you get a real instant hit of fragrance of cardamom in what is otherwise a classic dish.
I mean, as much as we joke about what it looked like,
That is so cool.
it tastes amazing. And what I actually really like about it is that it's not just, oh, this has got some plant in it, and you taste it and you're like, yeah, a bit. It packs a punch. Individually, but also when it's actually applied, it tastes different enough to be useful.
Would you say adding cardamom and sugar to it from a leaf has intensified the flavour, aroma and presentation of the dish?
2 of those things.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. Other little petit fours.
Oh! Cheers.
Cheers.
Again, just a simple talking point, but imagine if that chocolate was more than just a beautiful, rich, delicious dark chocolate. It could be an orange-scented chocolate.
Doesn't need it.
That is superb.
Copper Cress, they do all the good sustainable things as well. It's all grown in greenhouses that are eco-sustainable, and they're basically doing as much as they possibly can to limit the fact that they're growing global ingredients in one place. And that's the beauty. They always say we don't need to reinvent the wheel, we just need to go to somewhere else in the world that already has these amazing ingredients that nature has provided and get chefs to do better things with them. Cardamom leaves, good example.
But Ebbers, that's how it starts. Because you need to get the chefs excited about it. Once you get the chefs excited about it, the customers become excited about it. Now, when the customers become excited about it, they want to get it elsewhere other than that very expensive restaurant that they went to. So then suddenly, retailers and brands get excited about it, and their development team go like, oh, we could use some succulents. And then 3 years later, you're eating salted caramel out of an aloe vera plant, and everyone's happy.
That is the first time in 15 years you've used your degree.
I know.
And that's what we always talk about, food trends, because that's the trend and it often takes 5-6 years to get there. It's not a viral success, it's a slow grower, much like sorted food. Please subscribe.
We're growers, not showers.
Yeah.
Has this food trend planted some ideas in your mind, or should we just leave them alone?
I am not just planted, I am rooted.
Yeah. Yeah. I like them.
Yeah.
Mike likes them too. I have one more if you'd like it, but you've gone very giggly all of a sudden.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, I'd like one more.
Yes, please, Evans.
Lift away.
This could be interesting.
Okay. Oh.
Well, why did you say that? Because it could be a shot of something delicious.
Could be. Oh. Oh.
That's not helpful to the audience.
It's not.
It's definitely alcoholic.
Fruity.
No, yeah, it's fruity. It's almost botanical, but not in the same way as gin. Like, it's got something else.
Herbal.
It's got some other properties to it.
40%.
Give or take 2%, yeah.
Yeah.
42, I think.
It's not a liqueur.
It's not a liqueur.
It's a full strengther.
It's smoother. It's got vodka-y-ish notes.
Yeah.
In terms of, it's vodka-y in the mouth, but more rounded.
It's got
So there's
more
all
botanical, herbal
Something.
elements to it.
And it is advised that it can be drunk neat, over ice, perhaps so chilled, or in delicious cocktails. This is Atomic Moonshine, made by the Chernobyl Spirit Company.
Ah, yes, I've heard of this, and I can't think where. It was either on Instagram, and I found it so interesting that I sent it to Ed or Izzy.
Oh, this is it.
Oh, I have not heard of any of this.
The Chernobyl Spirit Company, they produce spirits from produce, so grains and apples from the orchard, which is why you're getting like an apple flavour from it, from plants and crops in the exclusion zone, in the abandoned area. So, nuclear disaster in 1986, and there is a whole area around it that has been abandoned and exclusion zone ever since. Now, scientists are saying that some of those areas, while still abandoned, even though some people still live in some of those areas, the crops still aren't classified safe. However, when you go through the distillation process, fine.
What?
And that's what's been tested, thank goodness, by proper scientists
people
that
say.
makes this product absolutely safe, and therefore they're using crops and agriculture within the exclusion zone, and 75% of the profits from it go back to supporting the conservation and the wildlife in those zones. That's it in a ginger beer and mint cocktail, and that's just it over ice, neat but more chilled and sippable. Right, specifically, the fruits used to make that were harvested from orchards in regions of northern Ukraine beyond the military checkpoints. So we're talking not the absolute most exclusion zone, but land that still can't officially be used for agriculture.
Well, first and foremost, it's a cool concept, and it's nice to see something come out of that aftermath.
Disaster, yeah.
Like the aftermath of that, something terrible that's happened. But first and foremost, if you're going to create a product, it has to taste good, and it tastes good. Over ice, I actually think it tastes fantastic. In the cocktail, equally as delicious. I think I actually prefer it like that.
And the founders have said, and there's loads of great sort of research and stuff on their websites, well worth a read, but they've said that at our site in the main exclusion zone, radiocesium in the rye was below the already quite cautious Ukrainian limit, but that radiostrontium was a bit above the limit. However, once we made atomic grain spirit with that grain, we could find no Chernobyl-derived radioactivity in the distilled alcohol.
Wow.
And you follow it up with there's very little on this planet Earth, full stop, that has zero radioactivity.
So everything's got a level,
But
hasn't it?
no Chernobyl-derived radioactivity in that product.
Again, it's another one of those subject matters. It's like, how did this ever come up as an idea? It's a really interesting thought process that the founders must have gone through to even get to the stage of knowing that there are apple trees and orchards in the exclusion zone that have fruits that are going to waste. Who planted them? Were they there before the disaster? Were they all of that kind of information?
And it's important to stress that the founders are some of the scientists who have been working on the science from Chernobyl since 1986. They're not people who a couple of years ago went, there's an opportunity I can make some money from. These are scientists
From the
who have
community.
been working on that site for 30 plus years and now can do something good with a product that does good through profit. And it's also aged in Ukrainian oak, so again, it's all very sort of local. The bottle is £37, 45 with the presentation box.
You're going to want the box, aren't you? That adds to it.
You are in the spirit gift market. I would probably look at spending around £30. If I spent an extra £10 and there's this great story attached and a nice presentation box, I think I'd be willing to buy this for the right person.
The chances are your £10 is the bit of the cash that's going towards the good causes.
That's a very good point. You're using your degree for the second time in 15 years.
Right, final question for you. Is this moon shining bright or just a bit of an eclipse?
It's shining very, very bright.
Shining really bright. I think
Love
that's a great product and a great story and a great cause. It's a triple threat.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. 4 products or ideas around food trends, but we always have to hear from you guys. So comment down below. What do you think about those? And have you seen any other awesome food trends out there that we should be tackling?
Lovely job, Evans. They were great.
Yeah,
were
great
great.
job, mate.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Nice.
Thank you.